Matt?
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you?
What's new?
Not much. I had a last minute situation that I had to go to Montgomery County, so that's why I'm zooming in. But I have Juan Watson. Is the last name Watson?
Correct. Okay. This person is here now, I'm assuming?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe he needs his an arraignment.
Okay. Juan Watson, come up. No one.
Oh, is that him? There he is, Judge. Um,
You are Juan Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Watson, you're charged with evading arrest or detention. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir. As you can see, your lawyer is here with you on Zoom now, so you're not alone. Okay.
Yes, Judge. On December 25th, 2024, officers arrived at a hotel in Harris County, Texas, in response to a burglary of a habitation report. The defendant had made the call and was waiting in the hotel lobby. One moment, Your Honor, let me double check.
The defendant made the call.
As well, I'm gonna read the DMs to see if maybe there's a typo in her summary.
I believe he did make the call, Your
Yes,
Honor.
Judge. Yes, Judge. So the defendant had made the call, was waiting in the hotel lobby. The defendant advised he had a weapon and ID in his backpack. The police then escorted the defendant to a hotel room to retrieve his belongings and then off the property, where it was determined there was no weapon in his backpack. An officer performed a search of the defendant and found an unholstered pistol in his pocket.
What? They just start searching? What's he doing wrong?
I'm going to read the full DMs, Your Honor, because Your Honor, if we could have a moment so I could read this, because it seems like there's a lot more information that was
Just read the DIMS. That's all I want to know.
the entire DIMS, Your Honor. Yes, yes, Judge. So the officer dispatched to a burglary of a habitation, later turned to an evading call for service at a hotel known as the Element. Upon arrival, the officer made contact with the defendant. The defendant was observed behind the front desk area and did not at first advise he was the caller. The defendant appeared in a nervous state of mind and at first was not forthcoming with information for the investigation. The defendant later advised he obtained a room with another person who he advised he did not know and was only known as Chaz Burke. And the defendant advised he had traveled to the room with Chaz, and upon entering into the room, there was a third male in the room already, and the defendant advised he left the area out of fear of another unknown male. The defendant advised the third male was invited to the room by Chaz, and upon briefly speaking with the front desk employee of the business, advised the defendant prior to arrival was located in the hotel lobby, only in underwear for a brief time, but advised he heard a firearm being racked, chambering around, but did not observe this action and only heard it. The employee then advised an unknown female traveled to the hotel, brought the clothing the defendant was observed wearing on scene, which was the sweats and bottoms. The defendant advised the handgun was of his when asked was located in his black backpack. He was observed to have on his person. The backpack was temporarily taken possession of by the officer for safety due to the defendant advising a firearm was located inside the backpack. The defendant on scene had advised and given consent that the handgun could be obtained from the backpack and checked in TCIC, and also advised his ID was also in the backpack and could be obtained on scene by law enforcement. The room the defendant and Chaz had booked, which was number 424, was checked for Chaz or other unknown suspects with negative results, and none of the other suspects were spoken to during the investigation. The defendant advised he was traveling to the secured room in order to obtain any of his belongings in the room due to the defendant was to be criminally trespassed from the business and escorted off the business. The defendant at this point began to walk away from the deputy and continued to attempt to walk away from the deputy, but ultimately the officer escorted to the room without incident. Once the defendant was located back downstairs outside of the business, he obtained his driver's license from his backpack And as he was conducting an NCIC check on the defendant, one of the other deputies on scene advised the handgun was not located inside the backpack as stated. The defendant was patted down for weapons on scene, and the deputy discovered a black spring-filled handgun located in the defendant's pant pocket without any type of holster for the handgun. The handgun was temporarily taken by the officer for safety. At this point, another deputy arrived on scene to detain the defendant, and the defendant was observed to be in a highly nervous state of mind, and the defendant pulled away from the deputy.
Detain him for what purpose? What's he doing wrong?
So he was being criminally trespassed, and then he had previously.
Get it, but you give him notice and then you get him to leave.
He told the officers that there was a weapon, and the employee told them that there was a weapon, so they were patting him down because they had those facts that there was a weapon, because they didn't find it in the backpack. So, but he had just told them that there was a weapon somewhere. So they patted him down for safety, and that's where they found the handgun.
Okay.
I think, Judge, like you said, they have to give him some kind of notice that he needs to leave the premises. Just them suspecting that this might be a criminal trespass.
Well, hold on. I mean, but this isn't evading. So
Yeah,
at some
and
point,
as it-
he allegedly must take off.
And as it continues, so once they attempt to detain the defendant for officer safety due to having the handgun without declaring it, the defendant was in a nervous state, and he began to pull away from the deputy and began to flee the scene and evade deputies on the scene. So all deputies were in full issued uniform, and the defendant was given verbal commands to stop and refused all commands given to stop and continued to evade, which he was then pursued off the hotel property and onto an apartment complex. The officer continued to pursue until he lost visual sight of the defendant, and the defendant was then later positively identified on scene from his driver's license, the Illinois driver's license. So after they attempted to detain him, following that, that's when he ran from the officers.
Matt, do you have anything?
Well, I don't really understand why they were trying to detain him.
Well, I think at the end of the day, I think that what they were trying to do is perhaps they believe something nefarious, right? So they're trying to just trespass him out, which I think is well within their right. And had that just happened, and I think it would have been just nothing else would have transpired. But the fact that due to him leaving, they're unable to perform the trespass, right? And I think that's it's problematic.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Mr. Watson, when I find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case, I'm not going to put any conditions on your bond. Just be careful. You get into a pissing match with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've got a lawyer. Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance. You don't have to waste your time coming to court, but just stay in touch with Mr. Horak and he'll tell you when you have to come back.
Okay,
I know that you live in Ohio,
yes.
right? So I'm going to waive your appearance. You don't have to come back. At some point, if you have to come back, Mr. Horak will let you know, and then
Okay.
we'll go from there.
Okay,
So for now, I'll just have you sign a reset with Victoria, and then we'll just get you out of here.
okay, thank you.
Judge, how's April 1st through the 3rd?
April 1st through the 3rd.
The second would be great, Victoria.
Got it.
It's yours.
Thank you so much,
Okay,
Judge.
Matt.
Maybe excused.
You got it. Have fun.
Take care.
Hi.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
I am approaching to see if we can amend bond conditions for two cases, actually. One of them is off docket. Is that okay? Can we-
Yes, absolutely. Good
Okay, I
morning,
have the case
Sebastian.
number.
What is it?
It's 254-9067.
A Wonk.
Yes,
Okay.
he is here. He had the no contact with the complaining witness restriction and also the address. He lives at the home, he pays the bills. We've spoken with the complaining witness and they said they're okay with no threatening and harassing and allow him to go back home.
Yeah. Sorry,
What say you?
yes, Judge, I confirmed with the complainant, they want him back home and, we just asked that.
My only issue is that he's a prior murder case.
Yes, Judge.
What happened with
It
him?
was so many years ago, Judge. But he has not had any issues since. I do understand the concern. I
would typically be more concerned, I think, given the age of the murder, as well as the fact that that is his primary residence. I think it might be fair to.
Come up. Wonk. Oh, it's not on docket, you said, right?
No, he's not.
So All we're doing is taking off the residential restriction, correct? That's all we're doing?
And
Or
no-
is there's a no contact order now?
But they live together, so.
Who is the complaining witness in this case?
His girlfriend's son.
Yeah, I mean, we can do,
Have you ripped to see
Yes.
whether the son wants to have contact?
yeah, that's the person that I.
How old is this kid?
He's,
47,
yeah,
Judge.
he was.
Okay, so he's not young. All right, all right. So Mr. Wong, they're asking me to amend your bond conditions to allow you to have contact. I will. I'll allow you to go back to this house, but you need to understand there are still conditions of no threatening or harassing behavior. And what you need to understand, what threatening or harassing doesn't matter what you think. I don't care what you think. It's what the other person perceives. So you need to be aware of this. I don't know what kind of relationship you have with the complaining witness, but if it's something where you're constantly butting heads, that could be problematic for you. All he has to do is just call and say, hey, man, he's at it again. You're the one that's going to go back. You understand? Okay, so just be careful. There are many vindictive people in this world. Know who your audience is at all times.
All right, Judge,
It's rollers.
page 3, arenas.
Folks, you ready?
Yes, Judge.
Come on, let's roll. This is Aminita
Yeah,
Arenas.
yes, sir.
You speak English.
Yeah, I do.
Ma'am, you're charged with tampering with a government record. You were facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Shh. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Quiet.
So,
Shh. The reason that we have you in custody now is that you are on felony probation for injury to a child under 15. And it looks like they've issued a warrant on that case and it's now set at no bond. So we have to take you into custody because of
but
that.
how if I was like,
Well, hold on. I don't know anything about it. I'll appoint you a lawyer. I will have the lawyer talk to you about how we can go forward. Let's first do probable cause in this case, and then we'll go forward.
Yes, Judge. On January 30th, 2025, at approximately 12:23 a.m., the officer observed a vehicle traveling with high beams activated within 500 feet of oncoming traffic. A traffic stop was then initiated and the officer made contact with the defendant, the driver and sole occupant of the vehicle. The defendant provided a Texas ID and advised she is uninsured. The officer ran on TLET, a search on the temporary tag, and could not find any records. The officer conducted a TLET search on the VIN and could not find any details, nor could dispatch. The officer was able to run a VIN through the Carfax and it came back to the same year, make, and model of the vehicle. And the officer ran a temporary tag through a management system and it showed as being involved in an accident on January 22nd, 2025, but showed as a silver 2005 Nissan. The defendant stated she bought the temporary tag from somebody and that the vehicle was dropped off at her work and mentioned that they had a silver Toyota Solaris and the Nissan Titan. The defendant observed a male swap temporary tags.
She's charged with tampering.
Yes, because she would have been aware that she did not purchase a valid registration as she saw the person she bought the vehicle from swap his tag to her vehicle when she bought it.
Say that again. I was reading something.
So she knew that she was not having a valid registration placed on her vehicle because when she purchased the car, the person she purchased it from took his registration from his vehicle and put it on hers, and she continued to drive like that it was not the proper registration.
So then and there unlawfully, intentionally, knowingly presented and used a license to which attached hereto as Exhibit A governmental record with knowledge of its falsity.
She saw him swap it from his
Okay.
own car to hers.
Right. All right, so ma'am, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. And what I'm going to do now is, did you say that she has a Texas driver license or she does not?
All right, Your Honor. Very good. It's eligible, Your Honor.
So she has a license then?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, great. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put you back. I can't let you go because there's a felony warrant for your arrest. I will appoint you a lawyer and the lawyer can explain to you why the warrant was issued and how we can go further.
But if I was in operation every month,
I'm sorry,
I was in operation every month, she didn't tell
I
me.
get it, but one of the things while you're on probation is don't pick up any new cases, right? So let's do this. I can't give you legal advice. I can't tell you how to go forward, but I'll give you a lawyer today and the lawyer will tell you and give you more advice, okay? For now, I just can't let you go. There's a felony warrant. So we'll put you in back for now and then I'll appoint someone to you, okay? Please. Can you file hey, hold on, Vic. Can you no license and valid insurance?
Yes,
As bond condition, please. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Ready when you are.
So there. Cesare?
Mr. Cesare? Sir, you're charged with criminal trespass. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. You've worked out an agreement. They're offering you 12 days in jail with credit for the 4 days that you've done. You need to understand that this charge will go on your record. It's going to be there for the rest of your life. You can never take it off. Do you understand? Yes or no? I need to know that you can actually understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can understand what you're saying.
You also need to understand that from now on, you're facing a minimum of 30 days in jail for any new cases that you pick up. You're giving up a lot of rights by entering into this agreement. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. Deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization, you give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, you can never change this, undo this. You understand? You still want to do this?
I guess I have no choice.
You got to be sure. There's no wishy-washy here because, once you do this, this isn't like Target. You could just return it because you don't like it anymore. Once you plead guilty, that's a lifetime decision you make. There's no turning around. Your other option is to go to trial. Those are the two options that you have.
I guess. Yeah.
Are you guilty of this offense? You either are or not. There's no,
No, I'm not. I'm
Okay,
not.
set of trial.
then we set it for trial. See, the deal is this, Mr. Zaire. We don't plead people guilty who are not guilty. If you're not guilty of this offense, then they either dismiss it, or if they feel that they have a good case.
I
then we go
explained
to
this to him,
trial.
Your Honor, but I told him if you're not guilty, then we go to trial.
Right.
So
This
I'm
isn't-
not going to plea him, Your Honor.
This is not, it's not a game. This, so you either are or you're not. Reasonable minds can differ. The evidence points to whose side is correct. I haven't seen the evidence. I have no idea. When we get to trial, that's when we all get to see the evidence. But there may be, body cam, there may be videos, there may be eyewitness testimony. I don't know. But until we get to trial, I'll never know. So, you were allegedly there at the time. I have no idea. You either are or you're not.
I was visiting.
Look, I don't want you to talk about the case.
Well,
And just understand, a lot of people try to justify things by what they think is right. Even though if you think something is right, if it's still against the law, it's still against the law. I don't know. That's why we give you a lawyer, for the lawyer to tell you what the law is, what happened with your case, and whether you are in fact guilty of the offense charged. I don't know. If you want a little bit more time to talk to Greg, you can. It's up to you. But, once you do
I don't know.
this,
Speak with him, Your Honor.
yeah, once you do this, there's no turning back.
Judge, what was his last name?
Cesare.
Thank you.
No pressure on. Try this again.
You?
Yeah.
Come on up, Mr. Cesare.
Sit there.
I'm talking to the attorney though, so.
Are you guilty of the offense of criminal trespass? Okay. Just understand that, from now on, you're facing a minimum of 30 days in jail. I don't know where this is from, but if you go back, chances are it's going to happen right again. So I don't know where this is from, but I probably wouldn't go back because if you do, you're asking for trouble.
It's an apartment complex, Your Honor, just so you know.
I wouldn't go back. Just don't. Even if someone invites you, I wouldn't go back because they're going to call the laws. The laws are going to come and they're just going to mess with you. You know what I mean? That's just the reality. Now, like I said, you give up a lot of rights. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel citizen. There are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. So no more trials. We're done today. All right? Okay, man. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
I'm going to find you guilty. I'm going to waive your court costs so you won't owe anything. Good luck.
Just gonna give you a
careful.
form. You go downstairs, you're done with this, cleared up. All right?
Okay, guys.
Thank you. Go right there.
Uh,
Come on, I'll show you.
Give me a second. Give me